flanking for the engages than the actual hard engage itself from the front lines. He's too predictable otherwise, so we'll see if he goes for the signature Malphite, the Jax, the Irelia, things like that. Not going to be the Irelia. Banned out right away, not giving him the solo power that he would have liked to have against Gamsu.
Yeah, let's see if Dignitas continue on this trend of banning top laners here and just target Kali. Say that they're not as worried about the rest of the members. Well, there goes that. Nidalee, just too powerful right now. Take that one off the table for Porpoise.
She used to be a top laner.
She did used to be a top laner. Still could be played in top lane as mid lane.
I will say I'm surprised by the Ahri ban against Shifter. Dignitas themselves banned it not long ago. I think it was actually yesterday. And they just seem unwilling to give Shifter playmakers anymore. They're kind of letting him just sit back and farm and play passively. But Ahri ban all the same. Lissandra dropped away, so she will remain 11-1 through the first 4 weeks of the NALCS and not get another game here.
I think that teammate also have to worry about Gamsu. Gamsu has been a really strong player for Dignitas as well. And Rumble's still, oh, never mind, Rumble not still up. Gnar is still available though. Kassadin, the flex pick, could go to either of them. Probably Shifter though. Speaking of giving him a playmaking assassin, I would prefer him on that type of champion.
I would too. It just doesn't seem to be the way he tends to play League of Legends nowadays. I think back about his old team Coast and their big win over TSM where he takes down the Nexus with a Lich Bane. I haven't seen that Shifter in such a long time.
Yeah, heck, he even used to use Ziggs with Lich Bane and flashing into team fights to get more auto attack damage off. But as of late, been trending more towards things like Xerath. Look at Kali with a shout out here to Quas. That's about it though.
And then he just picks random things that no one's played this split. So who knows? Calitrolls is actually quite a good Gragas player. I just don't know if he's really wanting to pick that one super early.
What a beefy front line.
I would be surprised to see those be the champion picks, especially because there's no reason to grab Gragas early. They could deny the Sivir from Core JJ. They could deny the Annie from Kiwi Kid. It's one of Dodo's better champions, I would say.
Yeah, Nara's still up, taking away that Sivir.
I think Sivir Annie would be very good here, but they want the Maokai all the same. Calitrolls just on the moderate defensive tank.
All right, so they are just putting all of their efforts into the team aspect of the game. Sivir, the team-oriented AD carry. Maokai, the team-oriented top laner. They're really putting that in their name.
That's true, yeah. Well, unfortunately, only 5 champions, so they can't live up to the 8 unless they get some kind of revive passes and ghosts. Annie does come through for Kiwi Kid. Lee Sin for Cloud Win.
All right. So now maybe we get to see Cloud Win, you know, show why he got so high in solo queue. It was on the backs of a lot of early game playmaking junglers.
There we go.
Lee Sin can punish these more team fight oriented champions that teammate are picking up for the early game. We'll see what Cloud Win can do early game. Kiwi Kid back on Annie. That's always a sight for sore eyes for all Dignitas fans. Very happy to see him on that initiator. One of his best.
I got to agree. And I do want to kind of touch on this Cloud Win point a little bit and how long it'll take him to transition into a really strong force for his team. We've seen players like Rush come straight out of solo queue for Team Impulse and get refined over time and start doing better. Cloud Win on his 4th game with Team Dignitas. We can see how his Lee Sin handles, and being a Sightstone jungler will help them with some of their vision issues that I think they do need solving.
Plus, it's fairly easy. If you can put a lot of pressure mid as Lee Sin and help Kassadin have a strong early game, then we may see, you know, whoever it is, either Gamsu or Shifter, really just get out of control. We've seen so many times when Kassadin can just take over a game. Facing this teammate team, though, as we said, they're putting a lot of focus towards those team fights. And there are several methods for locking down a Kassadin now. Targeted Vi, Maokai as well.
All right, a lot of skirmishing, though, and sort of individual power from Team Dignitas. Corki does come through. It's a great mid lane, or sorry, solo laneable Corki, right? Kiwi Kid's going to roam out of the lane. Corki's going to be by himself. Core JJ should survive that one. The interesting one, though, is the Renekton top lane here for Gamsu. Knows he's fighting a Maokai. We don't see much of that champion, but I do think he's strong.
Well, he also got recent buffs, so he's definitely not back to where he was as the #1 top lane bully, but he definitely can take a Maokai out of that early game and apply the pressure. So I like that they haven't picked another sort of soft lane to go with Kassadin. So now Lee Sin plus Renekton, that's 2 very strong early game points that Dignitas have to work off of. And with Kiwi Kid roaming around on Annie, plays will be made. Let's see though, teammate, put the last piece in the puzzle here. 100% team fight oriented. They always want to be S5. We'll see how they can survive this laning phase.
They've got a lot of ball delivery in the Black Shield to help make sure Lee Sin doesn't kick them out when they get in here. So Team 8 playing with the Slushie Orianna, a champion we've liked seeing here in the NALCS. Helps with the team fight power a whole heck of a lot. Now Team 8, get out of the lanes, start the 5v5s. Dignitas, though, a couple of really strong laning phase champions, as well as more just individual playmakers with champions like Lee Sin, Cassid, and Annie.
Yep, and that snowball potential. We'll see if they can make use of it. Team 8's going to head on in. As you mentioned, Slushie and the Orianna, so many game-changing shockwaves. So Dignitas are going to have to spread out. They do have a bunch of champions with dashes. Everybody except for Kiwi Kid should be able to reposition. So we'll see how well they work around that shockwave.
That's true. A couple of targeted routes in Vi and Maokai, but maybe they're going to get kited away from all the same. Guys at home, be sure to head over to Twitter and share your thoughts in this match. Tweet at LOL Esports, use the hashtag DIGWin or T8Win to vote for who you think is going to do well. Now, if Dignitas wins this game, they do pull a two-way tie with Team 8 for 8th place. If Team 8 win here, they improve to 4-4. 6-way tie for 3rd in that case, and it brings Dignitas down to solo 9th. So some decent standings implications here.
Yeah, and it is really early in the season still, but with the changes to the structure, everybody kind of has that in the back of their minds. Nobody wants to end up in 10th place because it is that auto relegation.
I mean, keep in mind, it is 40% of the way through after this game. You've played, what, 8 of your 18 matches, if I'm doing my math even close to properly. I'm not. 44% of the way through, I think, actually.
Well,
4 of 9 weeks. That's how that works.
Well, we've got 80% of Team 8 up top here right now. And they're looking to make a play on Gamsu.
He could jump the wall if he has to learn E. Nope, starts Q. Calitros will go for the route, which means the binding will land, and they force the flash. I don't know why Renekton started Q.
Well, the thing is, Kali starting with Twisted Advance means he can no longer start a camp.
That's a fair point, actually.
I think that goes in favor of Renekton there. Right. We'll see how the swaps actually pull out, though, because Twisted Advance also very poor for a double jungle.
True.
Either way, least effective skill to start with Maokai, no matter how the early game shapes up.
That's a good point. Well, up until 6 minutes into the game, Gamsu is flashless, and maybe that gank pays off. We'll have to see. Teammate will stay for a blue buff steal. And they're going to send Slushie bot lane right now, by the way. You see him standing on top of that ward over there. Interesting.
So does Dignitas. Interesting. All right, well, he is going to go over towards the mid lane, though. Right. So one way to sort of circumvent laning phase troubles is to initiate lane swap. Dignitas don't want to let him get away with that, though. Trying to call it here, sending their duo up top as well. Kiwi Kid and Core JJ looking for the 2 versus 2.
Doesn't check with Phospho Bomb. I feel like you just should, right? Walk top lane, just Q it at 155.
Also, I think the trinket wards, I believe. No, never mind. Long ways from off.
All right, Maple Street missing the first CS in the lane, just getting harassed by Q spam from Kiwi Kid. Now that Dodo's here, though, with the Dark Binding, it's going to put a little bit of threat in this lane. Now, most players do consider this lane in the advantage of Sivir, because you can easily spell shield Phosphorus Bombs, and all of your offensive spells will actually land. That said, we think that Core JJ and Kiwi Kid tend to have an incredibly good laning phase, so maybe they can get around that detriment.
Meanwhile, Calitros hitting that level 2 with the double jungle, takes the blue buff to go fight Renekton.
Oh, interesting.
So, as far as lane bullying goes, it's really hard to bully a Maokai with blue buff early, because he can heal with his passive just from spamming spells. And this is actually a really smart. It wasn't an accident giving this blue buff to Calitros. It was a really smart adaptation to the lane matchup.
You know, we said that about the last time he got a red buff when he started his lane.
He was just like, no, it wasn't.
And he was like, yeah, YOLO, I just kept attacking it, and was like, learn how to last hit, Porpoise. So there's always the chance.
It happens pretty often with them, so maybe
they're a wild card. Just
maybe.
Saying. Oh, Cloud Wind, though. A nice board to hop in. Slows down Slushie. Ignite used, but he might take down Cloud Wind. First blood comes into Lee Sin. The minions help. And a kill does trade back, but still advantage Dignitas.
I'm not sure if Shifter was 100% ready for that. Maybe he was just really trying to bait in Slushy. But nonetheless, as expected, early move from Lee Sin, cover that Kassadin, even getting the first blood, burning the flash and ignite from Slushy. I mean, Shifter had to use his to follow up, but definitely going to be a bonus for Kassadin. Now he gets to shove of that wave.
And they should get him a nice, safe recall, though the kill to Slushy, keep in mind, Shifter got the assist on that one. In the matchup itself, actually more gold went to Slushy here by 100. And he gets a Fiendish Codex on his first back with some potions behind it. And that'll be an advance, I believe, of Shifter's Catalyst.
Whoa, and
Blasting
wand straight out of the gate. Didn't have enough to combine a full Catalyst. So he's going for bully potential. Let's see here, Shifter, we've been waiting for so long to see him back on an assassin.
Right.
Start making some plays. So he's got the premier assassin in the game for mid lane, Kassadin. He's facing an AP champion. Great for Kassadin. And his lane was ganked very early, even though he did come out behind on gold. Should be fine on experience, because he got to shove that extra wave. And a repeat visit from Lee Sin, who, by the way, has upgraded for Chilling Smite now. So this should be even easier. Jump in with a Ward Hop, land the slow for a very easy Q. There it is.
Oh, he jukes it anyway. No summoners on anyone here. Slushy gonna bait the fight, and in comes Porpoise. Shifter cannot get out, and the kill gets picked up there by Porpoise.
Lands the Chilling Smite, but still unable to hit Q after.
Whew. We said if it wasn't Cali Trolls, it'd be Slushy carrying the game, and so far that seems to be holding true.
Porpoise there. And if you extend like that as Lee Sin by coming in with a fully charged Vault Breaker, that is going to be an easily turned gank. And I think that's just a good heads-up play from a jungler to circle around where the summoners were all burned. This is where all the fighting is taking place. Want to protect that Orianna, who is also shoving up. So great job there by Porpoise. Good jungle route for him to keep himself in the area.
Does Cloudwood know he's seen? Good steal by Porpoise.
No, he does not.
Knows there's a ward nearby, but in comes the teleport. This is a 3-on-1. Porpoise Q's over the wall. Teleport lost by Gamsu for nothing.
Another smite lost for Cloudwin as well.
Oh,
well,
smited that?
Yeah, he used his smite on Porpoise as Porpoise was getting away.
Yeah.
Slow him.
I forgot about that.
And while it's cool, you know, it's really nice to have the Chilling Smite for these slows to land your skill shots. It's still going to really hurt his jungle clear. Not only does he not have the Trailblazer upgrade, but he doesn't even have the regular Chilling Smite to get through the jungle.
That hurts him too much. Kiwi Kid takes a bind to the face. Nice aim by Dodo. This duo lane, by the way, plus 16 minions for Maple Street and Dodo. Porpoise did tell me yesterday that it was, or last week, I forget, that it was overstated how bad their laning phase was. He said that quote was misconstrued. Yeah, so far, I'm a believer right now in teammate.
They definitely are winning, so hard to argue with that.
It was an easy one. I waited until they started winning. I was like, yeah, teammate lanes really well, bro.
Good point, Freak. All right, let's see the next move here from Lee Sin, though. As expected, early damage pickup and looking to make more early plays. Just taking out the crab, though, as he was seen by the ward. Once again, Porpoise positions himself for a counter gank. Not going for an offensive play, though. Looking to get level 6, and he's well on his way.
Here's what I find interesting about teammate, though. So think about yesterday. Dignitas got BF Sword Sivir, recalled her to bottom lane, and took Dragon as cost of a turret, and that went poorly. This time, teammate, they shot really cleanly. Maokai's already going to clear the wave up. Sivir's bottom. What can they do with this?
Well, considering they also had full vision of Lee Sin for your entire story there, they can do a lot, because Cloudwin is really far behind Porpoise right now. He returns again to the mid lane. He spent so much time ganking. Porpoise has been farming the vast majority of the time. Oh, going back to get the most out of his Raptor buffs instead here.
One risk. They know bot lane recalled him. They're afraid of Kiwi Kid, and they should be. Cloudwin, again, smites an enemy champion, gets nothing for it. And teammate are pushing bottom.
As you mentioned, though, the Maokai up top with teleport advantage. If Dignitas had decided to follow up on that, landed Q from Cloudwin, would have easily turned against them very quickly, as Kali could join and turn the tides.
There's going to be attack damage Renekton. You'd mentioned the TP advantage. Bind's going to land. Here comes the engage. Teleports to a minion as well. Kiwi Kid gets ulted, and they're going to give the kill to Maple Street. 4 men under the turret. Dignitas going to have to give this one up.
All right, let's see if they also want to grab Dragon for this. Should be pretty easy. And Renekton is shoved into his turret, so it'll be a while for him to work on this top turret. Maokai actually could recall as well and start walking up there right now. It would be a fairly dangerous play to do the Dragon, a little bit greedy with only 3 people, but
I think they're going to be safe. Dignitas pinged that they wanted the red buff steal. Renekton just warded that before that whole bot lane dive happened, and that was the call by Dig. The Dragon goes uncontested. The red buff is the counter objective.
Also, they have full vision of Kali walking up here. They know his destination. They know the entire route he's taking. With that red buff steal, everyone collapsing on him. So Kali gave away so much information walking through mid lane.
Kick into Q. Kiwi Kid's nearby. Cloudwind low on health, but there's no backup for Calitroll. Stun lands, but the ulti's going to take so much damage. Calitroll's 1 versus 3 chases the team away by himself, but he bit out maybe more than he can chew. Slushy joins the fray, gets the shockwave in, but loses his top laner for it. Now Porpoise joins. Looks like teammate want to battle this one. Gamsu ult taken away, goes for the flash stun, finds Slushy, a lot of damage, forcing him to flash out. Binding will not find purchase, and wow, Gamsu takes down the mid laner of Team 8, stunned up by Morgana, but Shifter makes the play, goes into the Porpoise. The Ignite is going to be enough, and Dignitas turned this game on its head. Now Maple Street in the wrong spot as well. Core JJ likely to win this duel, flashes the chase, Summoner Heal burned, one more attack, he dodges the ulti. Oh, the shield is enough, but Kiwi Kid flashes. You have seen my Bear Tibbers this time. Dignitas got, what, 4 kills and a turret for that.
Whoa, Kiwi Kid with the giant exclamation point on the end of that Dignitas skirmish win. Oh, what a giant turn in the tides. That all started, remember, from Calitroll's a little bit too confident with the backup of his team.
Yeah.
Misjudged the distance that they could close. Not close enough. He really wanted to keep that 3-man dig squad interested, and he just made himself a little bit too available. So, this is after he's already dead, and this is just a great heads-up play from Gamsu. Right back in onto Slushy, gets out of range of the binding just barely, and heads back in for the kill. Meanwhile, this whole time, Shifter is moving up with Kassadin. He gets a kill. He's going to start snowballing. And this is going to be a very, very sad story for Team 8. And very welcome news for Dignitas. Core JJ keeping up the chase. The dodge of the big one there from Maple. Now, it didn't save his life, but it did cost Kiwi Kid his flash and ultimate. On top of your head. Yay! Kiwi Kid secures the kill.
All right, so kill lead for Dignitas equalizes the turret lead of Team 8, though the red side does still hold that one dragon. A couple of deep wards they spot when Krugs will respawn. They'll be able to spot the jungler Cloudwind at some point. Gamsu, though, ready to play very aggressive top lane. Calitroll's starting to look on the bad side of this fight. He's against Tiamat and does not have Rod of Ages. Gamsu really trying to bully out right here. He's gonna get the kill under the turret. The root, the heal comes in. Calitroll's, will he trade? Yes, he will. 1 for 1. XP advantage to Gamsu, though.
After Twisted Advance makes him invulnerable, the next auto attack, I believe, from Renekton went onto the turret and cost them just enough time for one more shot.
I know the passive heal came in, I think, for Calitroll as well on that one. Help him make that happen. Rod of Ages done for everyone who wanted to buy one here. Shifter and Calitrolls both have one, and they are just starting to stack up here.
All right, Giant Minions Wave does crash into that turret, though, so very timely aggression from Gamsu. Killed trade with a lot of minions stacked up on the turret. So he does gain some. Look at this interesting invade. It is assisted by Sivir ultimate.
Tibbers misses, though. Cloudwind into a black shield means he's not going to do anything to Dodo, and the dark binding means the kill comes in. Maple Street claims that. Dodo does not get stunned. The 1 for 0 teammate take it.
The trouble you run into when you get really aggressive with junglers early on like that. Cloudwind, very squishy still.
I can't believe you fall into a black shielded Morgana. You go in a straight line, and you're not even going to kick anyway.
All valid points. Freak.
Yep. Again, I cast from the past, so it's really easy for me. That's how I stay smart.
Well, they still have Shifter on their team. Kassadin did get an early kill as well as the assist. Not hurt too bad in the early CSing. Shifter still could make some plays across the map. They really would like to prey on Team 8 before they start grouping up. We'll see if they can do that. Kali, though, will answer turrets up top.
Nice stuff there. And he's going to TP right away. Looks to be making a play towards the bottom side of the map. They've got Kiwi Kid pinched off. But is the rest of the team here? Slushi, nice two-man shockwave buys a bit of time, but Gamsu still gets the stun. That means the kill will go over to Shifter. Now the bot lane is enough going to get done here. The kick goes into a black shield, nothing for Cloud Win, and they're going to pick up the Corki kill.
Shifter and Gamsu on the way, collapsing.
Well, there's no turret to run into, and Cloud Win overextends one more time. The spell shield by Maple Street, and the dark binding from Dodo means another 2 kills. Dignitas, now they're the team overstaying, and Team 8 hold the kill lead.
That's like deja vu. Very similar to the move Kali Trolls pulled. Cloud Win and Kiwi Kid a little bit too close on that chase, misjudging the distance and speed of their team. And Team 8 take out the threat. Now they're going to get the objective afterward.
Well, good by Team 8 to take the advantage that they were provided, but a sloppy game giving a lot of advantages back and forth. These teams over willing to fight. It's do or die. There's been kind of an equal amount of both this game.
All right, well, let's take another look. It all starts with the teleport at Krugs, and Kiwi Kid cornered, as you mentioned. Kali Troll is able to head him off, but they have their sights set on Core JJ. Do they use the Vi ultimate? Maybe not enough mana. They did have it available, not enough mana for it. But again, a little bit overzealous. He landed the Q, doesn't have to immediately take it. Really, really underestimates that burst. And Maple Street, again, both directions of Boomerang Blade hitting with the deceptively high magic damage from Maokai coming out with a full spell rotation. And once again, that squishy Lee Sin early, dying fairly often.
And Team 8 right now looks like they want to keep Dragon control. They are 1-0 on Drag so far, and they do have the vision to maybe make it 2-0. Cloud Win exercises restraint for the first time this game and does not follow the resonating strike.
Pretty big lead for the team that has a really strong team fight. So normally what you see when this happens is all the neutral objectives just ceded over to the team with the lead in the team fight comp. And Dignitas would really be looking for warding opportunities to find members split away and having a number advantage. Because just having them split away at this point, it's still dubious as to whether they could come out ahead. All right, so Kali's split, but he's the tank.
Another big play attempted, and once again, Cloudwind goes down 1-4-2 on the newcomer to Dignitas. The hard engage, they look for Kiwi Kid, but they might disengage him properly, and in fact they do. Porpoise loses his life for the trade, for the dive. Teammate still looking aggressive. Kali Trolls has the root in 2 seconds. Out goes the flash of Core JJ, the chase flash in. He wants his Corki, but too much damage comes through. The binding nearly tags him with a Boomerang Blade does, but in comes Shifter. 2 kills picked up, might be 3 if he takes down Kali Trolls. Right now though, he wants Slushi. Gamsu tries to make it happen, triple kill for Shifter. 5-1-2 on Kassadin. Kali Trolls says, yeah,
doesn't want to give it to Cass.
I'm firewood.
And he gets it. Able to give it over to Kiwi Kid instead. Now, with the way that this game is going, with the amount of reckless and chaotic plays and strung out chases through the jungles, this is the prime time for Kassadin. This is the exact type of game that he thrives in, chasing people down. And now that he's got 5 kills, Shifter is going to be a very, very, very threatening mage. So Porpoise goes fairly deep into the team. Speaking of squishy junglers, Kiwi Kid's able to use the Tibbers on his head. And the flash from Core JJ, able to save him for a little bit, get distance towards the turret, but a really nice follow-up boomerang here from Maple. Watch Shifter though, he jumps in, him comboed with Gamsu. It's the solo laners here from Dig this time around that are really carrying it. Giant amount of burst there onto the 2 primary targets, and Shifter with all the money now. He's almost got his Zanyas. Once he has his Zanyas, it completely changes the face of those team fights, because not only is he the powerful assassin, but he can also initiate for his team.
You just seem to never be able to count Dignitas out. Before we're like, yeah, their bot lane's doing really well. They're so incredibly strong, Core JJ and Kiwi Kid, but this game it's all Gamsu and Shifter doing the heavy lifting and playing so darned well. Gamsu choosing his targets very intelligently. Being melee, you've got to be very deliberate about your targets, and he's done so very well.
Yeah. And Cloud9, I believe, has not gotten the final say if he'll stick on the team. So might want to pull back the aggression a little bit with the Lee Sin. Finding himself in some dangerous situations with the low percentage chance of positive consequences.
There you go. 1,000 gold difference. Dignitas nearly knocked down the bottom outer turret. It's on its last legs. They maybe turn that one in. Teammate, all their gold lead is from turret kills because the kill lead keeps flopping back and forth, and right now it is being held by Dignitas. Making it scary because it's gold on Shifter specifically. Now, maybe the gold on Renekton doesn't concern them quite as much. We used to call him a low-scaling champion. You kind of didn't want kills on him. But for the next 25 minutes or so, Renekton will very much remain relevant damage-wise. And it will make Team 8 have to respect him. Bot turret goes down, bringing the gold back to equal. Team 8, though, look at the mid lane here. And there's an Annie and a Corki a little bit far away.
Teleport available for Kali as well. So Team 8 making the team plays in the mid game. They've escaped the laning phase.
No Corki, no fight.
Now it's all about that coordination that they pride themselves on.
A late move by Core JJ. I feel like he could have gotten to that lane in time. They know Cassidy can't wave clear. Teammate, answer a turret for a turret, hold 1,000 gold ahead.
He does shoulder most of the burden as far as wave clear for this team. Because Renekton, even though he does have the early Tiamat, really hard for him to clear those minions without taking a large chunk of damage.
Finding would mean probably death. Sunfire Cape is only tank item here, so there is a lot of damage potential. Looks like Zonia's will be next for Slushy, meaning he's also going to be able to survive some of these plays. That might just matter. 1:15 till Dragon comes up. Both teams, I feel like this is an important Dragon. It's Dragon 3 for Team 8 and Dragon 1 for Dignitas. Both these are very big buffs.
I'm actually really curious how the next team fight will play out. If Shifter's able to complete his Zhonya's, Dignitas have a potential to completely outplay this Team 8 squad with the Vi ultimate. If you're not expecting the Zhonya's on your target, which Shifter should be the target here for Team 8 because he's the fed one, and they unknowingly Vi ultimate the Kassadin with Zhonya's, Shifter can pop that and make Corpus very sad, interrupting the combo. So maybe he'll just be targeting Core JJ. Much safer.
Hold on, though. Dodo's got to be a bit careful. Black Shield is on. Slushy comes in. The kick. Nice flash to get himself safe. Now Porpoise wants Cloud9 to go down. Will they find the engage they desire? He goes in towards Shifter. Zonia's are not done yet, but Cloud9 survives for now. Maple Street flashes in for the kill. Now Shifter forced to run away. Can he get out? Answer's yes, he's Kassadin. But it's still a 2-for-0 to Team 8. And they didn't even have to Shockwave.
Chasing into the jungle versus the Sivir team. It was a really good flash from Slushy to not get kicked into the team. Cloud9 almost coming up with a big play this time, but once again it gets turned around on him. All right, that means Dragon Control should be Team 8's. Very, very risky here for Dignitas. They have the 3 main players, but it's still ridiculously risky to even be close. Without a smite, just should be firing rockets at the very most.
They didn't even push mid out for it either. Calitroll's held the mid lane, wasn't threatened by the 3 remaining members of Dignitas, and they got the uncontested Dragon after all. Dignitas, I do think, wasted a few seconds there they didn't have to spend in front of Dragon. Got the timer all the same. 2,000 gold game, the only big difference being the fact that one team has 6% more attack damage and ability power, and a bunch of movement speed. Yeah, and that is big, that is big.
Comboed with the Sivir, of course. All right, we'll see. Team 8, if they continue to make these grouped up 5v5 plays, high probability of coming out ahead.
Interestingly, Slushy went Death Cap. He had the portions of Zonia's with the Amp Tome there, but rushing for more damage. That does leave their backline fairly squishy, which can be a concern against Cassid and Annie. The risk Team 8 takes here. Debuff should be going to Shifter. It will. Cloud9 going to take a long time until his teammate shows up.
Yep, with that extra regeneration and cooldown reduction, he's definitely positioned to carry this game. Dodo, a tasty morsel.
And this might be the case. Gamsu going to be here as well. Zhonya's ulti popped. CoreJJ giving the kill with a big rocket on the backside. Dignitas now have some map control. What do they do with it? Mid lane going to get pushed out. Top lane, top jungle going to get warded as well.
So going to ward as a support, especially versus a fed Kassadin, is extremely dangerous. You definitely need the backup of your team. Team 8 there, though, sort of sacrificing Dodo, walking into the fog of war, and a really good collapse from Dignitas to make him pay for it. But just seems like a lack of coordination as far as the priorities of the squad go.
Team wasn't ready to defend him. Speaking of defense, though, Quicksilver Sash does come through for Maple Street, so he can peel for himself a little bit. 600 gold lead, all that holds here. These guys still are holding neck and neck throughout this match. Shifter going to be put on split push duty. Going to hold the bottom lane, and who could even answer him? Zhonya's Rod of Ages fully stacked Kassadin. He's a scary threat here. None of these really great duelists.
Yeah, he doesn't push too quickly, so
yeah,
he won't gain a lot of pressure before Team 8 are able to push up to the secondary turret. So we'll see how far that minion line does get, because he will leave it marching up towards the bottom secondary of Team 8's side.
Heads up, I Shifter to recall that quickly.
He's got it slowly pushing too. That minion wave will grow to be fairly large, as it will stack up a couple more waves before it finally hits the turret. And it will be up to Dignitas to force something on the opposite side of the map, try and make use of that giant minion wave that builds up before someone from teammates go able to collect all of the gold. They let the recalls go though, so teammates should be able to handle it just fine.
Looks like not much work by teammate means they're not able to really contest their own jungle right now. You're seeing much better vision by Dignitas in that side of the map. Good by them. The Sightstone Lee Sin really helping their vision gain. It was lacking yesterday. It's looking much better right now. And Baron side of the map, again, better control by Dignitas. Cali Trolls, speaking of that vision advantage, going to get jumped on by 4. In comes the Tibbers, in comes everything. Down he goes, CoreJJ finds the kill. Tibbers even takes the binding. Nice by Kiwi Kid if that was on purpose.
So once again, another pick for Dignitas, sneaking into that side bush. Teammate, I think there was a false sense of confidence because they have this ward line that's down sort of the outer side of Dignitas's blue side jungle. However, the pink ward's on the center, allowing Dignitas the pathway to get right into that bush. Perfect positioning. Even a tank such as Maokai does not stand a chance 1 versus 5. And that does give another window here for Dignitas.
And they're taking advantage of it. Gamsu's pushing the bottom lane pretty hard right now. There are some people defending him, but it's still putting a lot of teammates' pressure on one side of the map, allowing the other side to be pushed down.
Oh,
there's
Kiwi
the
Kid
flash
going
engage
in.
for Kiwi Kid. Tries to bait the spell shield, but it doesn't get burned here. His stun is up.
Now he's half
in
life.
comes the engage. Porpoise wants to kill off Kiwi Kid if he can find him, but the flash engage by Gamsu. Maple Street does get out safely, and they re-engage into CoreJJ. This fight is split, and Lee Sin puts out a lot of damage. Orianna, the first casualty, they trade back onto the enemy jungler, but Shifter going crazy. He's going to take a triple kill for himself, and Shifter doing so much work alongside Gamsu for Dignitas. Cali Trolls also in a bad spot, puts in the root. He is going to get away. Gamsu the same. 3 for 1 that fight. Dignitas, Shifter especially, making this game work.
Yeah, so we warned against the fed Kassadin, and now he is bringing his full power to the jungle fight, which is exactly where they want to have these spread out fights for him to jump around. Let's take another look here. Gamsu is the one who starts this off. Maple Street positioning right in front of him. That gets the spell shield out of the way. In the 2 versus 2 duel down there, they were actually going to come out ahead, but it's really Shifter who turns the tide, starts cleaning up all the squishes here. Kiwi Kid coming back in to secure a stun, but not enough damage to finish off the tank.
Think about how these team fights are playing out. Teammate wants so badly to have this big 5-on-5 with Shockwave and you know, you suck everyone in with the Maokai ulti and the Morgana ulti, but with them diving this hard, they're getting strung out, split up, shifted us whatever he wants. The Zonias that Slushi could have bought would have saved him against Gamsu. Instead, Shockwave misses for the second team fight in a row, and nothing's working for Team 8 anymore. Dignitas finally get their first dragon on the board, and one of their first gold leads of the entire game.
Whew. Void Staff completed for Shifter as well. He will be hitting like a truck. Let's see here. A little bit of a Baron bait. Nobody bites though. Teammate are behind.
Yeah, both sideways pushed in, top and bottom. CoreJJ just got finished pushing bot. He actually could have stayed for the turret, and in fact goes back to it now that they see Teammate and the route that they're retreating through. So Dig likely to get bot tier 2. And the top one, again, took so much damage from the minion line that that's nearly gone as well.
Yeah, minions cut right through that shield. Don't have to take it out before getting actual structural damage. Quick move from CoreJJ, a couple more shots down there too. So Dignitas, it looks like, you know, they're very happy to just keep taking fights here in the jungle, spread out, pick somebody off, gain those few seconds of advantage by taking the initiation.
I think it's so cool that Dignitas, all of their 3 main carry roles can split push reasonably well. Right, you never catch Kassadin. Renekton is just a big tank guy, and Corki, probably the safest split pusher of the AD carries, though he's not the fastest. Triforce procs are okay at it. And Dignitas really able to pull Teammate around the map. These guys want a team fight so badly, and Dignitas not giving them the clean engages.
No, in fact, it has been Dig turning around the engages very well. Multiple times. Gamsu as well. The flash on Maple Street, so Maple Street's going to have to watch his positioning, as is Slushi. This teammate squad really needs to set up their formation. We keep on talking about it. Maokai on the front line. By both of them trying to peel this Kassadin rather than separating from their back line.
How do they deal with him, though? He's Zonia's every shockwave. Shifter's been on point. He's big. Like,
I'd say put an early twisted advance on him. And then that makes it very easy to land a Vault Breaker, which sets up a lot of damage from Vi, because you get a very quick denting blows if you do that. Okay. The thing is, there's a lot of other factors you have to deal with. Gamsu is a monster, and CoreJJ with that very strong mid-game power spike of Corki just sort of dumps out damage at this point. So there are more things to worry about than just Shifter.
I like that Gamsu went all the way to Hydra, by the way. We do not see that frequently from Renektons.
Yeah, and buffed up with the Spirit Visage, the lifesteal tanking that he can do.
Yeah. And now that his the vamp off of the Q is no longer affected by armor, essentially, because it's a flat amount now, you really just get so much sustain out of that champion. Gamsu able to build a little bit more greedy for damage and stay tanky. And that's been successful so far. 4, 1, and 10. Again, great target choices in team fights.
I wonder if we'll see maybe a next item Thornmail from Gamsu. Sivir right now, not much lifesteal.
Very true.
And the flat resistances will provide a lot of value for a sustained tank. One thing they do have, though, wave clear, both on their AD carry as well as their mid laner and top laner.
Yeah.
So Team 8 should not lose unnecessary turrets.
Yeah.
Now, what really comes to scare is venturing into the fog of war, as usual. And they really need Maokai on the front lines.
Wow, early Black Shield pop. We're looking for it's going to be Porpoise getting slowed down. They find Cloud-Wind, and they're going to just destroy the poor guy. He flashes out safely, and down goes Sivir already. Keeping it, making it happen. Shifter doing more. Zonia's by Dodo 8, but he's still in a really bad spot. Shifter looks for more to chase down. He's not getting rooted up nearly fast enough by Cali Trolls. 4 kills already for Dig as payment of 1 kill back, and that is an ace. Again, Dignitas winning these team fights.
What a good job. Talking about spreading out. Well, as I said, everybody except for Kiwi Kid in Champion Select has a dash of their own. Cloud-Wind. Got to be careful. Even though all of the enemy champions are dead, Baron's still looking for him. Let's see if he gets back in for that smite, if he's bold enough. You don't really need it because everyone's dead.
He's recalling.
But you're the jungler. It's kind of a personal point of honor to be able to get that last hit. Doesn't want to chance it. Nope. Decides to go back to base. Unnecessary. So Team 8, they really wanted Shifter here, but he gets out of binding range, and Shifter walks all the way around this fight. He jumps up from the top, then he ends up down by Cali Trolls, jumps over the wall of red buff to circle around and clean up. the rest of Team 8. Cloud9 even escaping death that one. So yes, once again, Dignitas, they do a great job spreading out against this team, using their mobility that's built into 4 of their champions.
And it was weird by Porpoise because he saved his ult when they were going for Cloud9. I believe no, they didn't even kill him. Yeah, so he thought they was going to get him anyway. He saved the ult, turned it back on a Kiwi kid, but they overcommitted so hard to killing one champion that they got themselves strung out and didn't get the advantage for it. Dignitas, again, able to recollapse so very well. 6,000 gold lead for them, just mid-game, for once, going well to Dignitas.
Yeah, and I'd say Cloud9 is the least threatening champion on that team, too. Unless he gets off a great dragon kick. Not going to provide a whole bunch of value in that team fight. Got to be very careful with that Vi ultimate. When you have something like a 10-1 Kassadin on the other team. And a Trinity Force Bloodthirster Last Whisper Corki. Interesting Hexdrinker pickup.
Yeah.
Just in case he does get hit with a shockwave. Maybe a binding protection there. Very curious. It's not like they're overly magic damage heavy. I mean, it is a double AP, but one of the APs is a tank, so
Agreed. Not a super fan of Hexdrinker on Corki myself. Also just not building any attack speed or crit means his persistent damage is low, but you know what? The team's doing the rest of the work, so who cares? Bottom lane tier 2 goes down. Dignitas finally equalized the turret score, and they got Dragon number 2 for themselves, so everything looking great objective-wise for the blue side. And I have not seen Glimmers of Hope for teammate in a while. Slushy's actually failed multiple shockwaves in a row. Last team fight, he couldn't even get it off before dying. And he took a pit stop for Void Staff before Zhonya's, so he's still an easy target for Annie Kassadin.
it does mean if he does land it, it will have a high impact.
It's gonna hurt, but Dignitas showing so far they are playing around it well. Shifter poking in on Calitrolls, puts in the root, but doesn't stun him inside of turret range. Tibbers does miss here.
I don't think Kiwi Kid had his stun charged.
Maybe true.
All right, does mean they have 2 lanes of pressure here for Dignitas, though, regardless of Tibbers being down. Baron buff.
Down bottom turret. Really fast, 2 autos to go. Stays for it. Finding not going to hit him either. Sivir ulti pop. Can they re-engage? But what can they even do with it? The answer is nothing. Mid lane tier 2 fell to Gamsu the whole time. Teammate running back and forth inside the base really quickly, which doesn't mean very much.
All right, knocking on the doors here. And then Inhibitor is exposed. Baron buff is falling off. They still have a commanding lead. All right, it would have to be all-in call here from Team 8. They do not have that Sivir ultimate, but Maokai with a Orianna ball on top of him might be able to get into position for a good shockwave. Lee Sin not the primary target. And again, Dignitas scattering like ants.
Yep.
Spreading out so they don't lose to that shockwave.
They did a very good job of not dying to it. A little bit of poke from Core JJ. He's got enough of a mana bar. Cloud9 has just enough health. Another Tormented Soil trying to poke some damage down. Static Shiver. Pretty good wave clear. Very slow progress by Dig, but they are landing a bit of poke.
They've whittled Kali down to maybe 60% here on the main tank.
You can see how much Core JJ has to respect the Maokai W into Shockwave.
He's starting to get low on mana as well.
The wards come down. More poke, Calitrolls, 1300 health, Shockwave. Nice dodge by Core JJ. There's a mini wave top lane, but who cares? In comes the fight. They've started it up, and they've already taken down Slushy. Calitrolls low as well, forced to flash back into the team. Gamsu tanks up everybody, and the AoE comes out massive. 2 more kills for Dignitas. Dodo is going to fall, making it a triple kill for Core JJ. Only Maple Street is alive. The inhibitor falls, and maybe they take more off of Tibbers here. Maple pushes them back for now. But here comes a new wave. 20 seconds. Yeah, 25 on Orianna, 30 on the rest of the crew. 1 recall will come in to defend the base. The rest, though, will look for the Nexus. This could be GG. Down goes Maple Street, trades with Kiwi Kid. 15 seconds on Orianna. Nexus turret number 1 is down. Nexus turret number 2 under fire. This is going to be Dignitas finding, in rare form, a 3rd win here in the North American LCS. 38 minutes in. They worked hard for it. They played the team fights well. And they pull into a tie with Team 8.
That man, Shifter, back on the Assassins. Very fun time for him with Kassadin. 10-1-9. Gamsu, once again, continues to impress in the top lane. Also a big force for their team. Back to the books for Team 8.
So 8 games down, 10 to go. Dignitas, I believe, consecutive 1-1 weeks. So it's looking a little bit better than it did at the start of the split. Without Cloudwin, 1-3, with him 2-2. Of course, still a lot of building to do for this team, but they're starting to pick up wins. Poor JJ said they're not winning a lot, but it's starting to look better. They're starting to improve. The stats back it up. The games back it up. Meanwhile, Team 8 so up and down. They are still the only team to beat Team Solo Mid of the North American LCS. But they're dropping games like these.
Continues to look rough for them. A lot of the mid-game kills given up and venturing out towards Fog of War. Yeah. I feel like that would be a good place for them to start as far as reviewing the games from this weekend. Could clean up a couple of those.
They were just completely outplayed vision-wise. You're right, walking to Fog of War, getting caught out, Dignitas. That was the big strength, the big growth I saw from them this game. The Sightstone jungler from Cloudwin, he died a lot, but the vision meant so many good team fights for those guys, so many picks that turned into more objectives. And that was impressive. We also, as you mentioned, Shifter going massive 10-1-9 on Kassadin. Dignitas starting to show those bright spots that they're going to need to go up in the standings. Right now, still 8th place, 3-5. That only puts them 1 game behind 3rd. They're not far away from many of these other teams, but 10 games to go. They've got to start picking games up more.
Yeah. It'd be hard for them to crack into the next tier, I think.
Yeah.
We'll see how they can perform and continue to improve. Everybody's got a really introspective take on the North American LCS right now. All of the teams, everybody's looking at self-improvement right now because nobody really came in with the setup that they really wanted. There were very few teams in the North American LCS that didn't have to go through really dramatic changes. Yeah. And the teams that we're seeing succeed are the ones that either stay the same or made their changes much earlier on in the offseason.
And they immediately clicked too, right? The CLGs, the TSMs, immediately on Firecloud, and of course did not change. The rest of these guys, I agree with you, looking to still grow a little bit as teams. We'll see if they can do it over the next few weeks of the NALCS. But for now, we're going to toss it over to Riv, who's on the side of the victorious Team Dignitas.
Thank you very much, Freak. I am joined by Shifter from the mid lane of the victorious Team Dignitas, coming out with a pretty nice win towards the end of the game. A lot more control we're seeing from the team. And you, back onto some Assassins, you had a pretty explosive game. Is this something you've kind of been waiting to bring out?
I mean, I love playing Assassins, but sometimes you just can't because, you know, we have a really strong carry top lane in Gamsu, and, you know, this guy's an absolute beast. And sometimes I just have to take a backseat role and let him do his thing.
Yeah, many times we've heard the team chanting Gamsu towards the end of these games. Now, the play style of the team seems to be a bit more on the same page. Is that what Dig is feeling as well?
Definitely, especially with Cloud Nguyen. He's just naturally a really aggressive jungler. Like, sometimes he goes in, you know, he dies, but, you know, we like his mindset. He's just super aggressive, and it makes the team more aggressive as well.
And that's actually my next question, kind of, if you can tell us, what is the status of Cloudwin right now? He's kind of had a prolonged tryout. Is that still in effect?
Yeah, right now it's just a prolonged tryout. We're not sure in the future we're going to keep him, but like right now he's playing like a beast. Like, obviously he's still, you know, fresh out of solo queue. He has a lot to learn, but I think with time he's going to be a really good player.
Very cool. And coming up next week, you guys have CLG and Winter Fox. How are you feeling about those games, and what will the prep be like?
Definitely going to be really hard games. CLG, even though they lost today, you know, they played really well. They're a really strong team, and they deserve to be top 2 right now. And Winter Fox, you know, playing against Pull Belter, I got to get some revenge from last time. You know, he solo killed me, and, you know, I'm looking forward to playing against him again.
All right, Shifter, thanks a lot, man. Team Dignitas picking up another win here, and we're going to throw it to the guys at the analyst desk to break down the rest of the day.
Thanks, Riv. we heard Shifter talking about Cloud win. They like the aggression, but I do have to say there were moments of over-aggression there early in the game that scared me a bit in terms of just handing a couple kills over and looking for fights that weren't quite there.
Yeah, you missed the first Q in your lane gank to get Slooshy. You have to take all the next 5 Qs. You land them, you're like, at least I took it. And then it ended up with teammate, having a little bit of an advantage, but then it was a really bloody game.
Yeah.
But then from that point on, it was all teammates' blood.
Well, when we were watching even the champion select, we saw teammates' team composition and said this would be a really solid team fight team. But if they get into scattered fights or the game prolongs or they fall behind, they're going to have a lot of issues. And to Team Dignitas' credit, even after teammate was ahead of them, they found the scattered fights. Shifter was mentioning Gamsu being an absolute beast, and I have to echo that. Gamsu played probably the best out of everyone in that game, and it's a big reason they're able to win because of the skirmishes.
Yeah, both of them had fabulous score lines there, and I want to echo the sentiment again that I really want to hammer at home the idea that they regrouped as a team. Team Dignitas regrouped there, being down, and realized what their win conditions were for their team, that they weren't going to be able to take fights straight up. They needed to separate it out, prolong the fights, and really take basically mini 1v1s and 2v2s around the jungle.
Yeah, and I think a really big thing here for Team Dignitas is they knew their opponent through and through. They went to Calitroll's tendencies of wanting to engage, and they made a target look really tasty, and then they would bait him into fights. And then later on, they went back to the Dignitas that we saw 2 weeks ago, where they were picking people off with vision, or a week ago, actually, where they were picking people off with a lack of vision. I thought that was fantastic, because we saw Cali fall into that pitfall, and I wonder if that's Cloud calling those vision shots, or who's doing that exactly.
And teammate.
It's brilliant.
Right? Everyone follows Calitrolls. So that means if you can bait him, you bait
everyone.
everybody. Right?
Well, so now, I do kind of want to focus in on teammate just real quickly here, because that is a loss off of an early game lead where they have the team comp that, again, as we just discussed, we were like, they can set up for team fights so well. They can get the engagements they want, the Sivir ultimate into a Vi ult with the ball delivery and the Maokai. Like, how does that not work? What is going wrong with this team that they're allowing themselves to be put into these scattered situations and not just grouping and going objective to objective?
Yeah, the strong point of teammate is their late game team fighting. They look like nothing this game. They didn't have a good laning phase. They didn't have a good team fight phase. Their comp that they drafted for themselves was really well-rounded. And if they were able to keep Team Dignitas down the entire time, like a Renekton behind against a Maokai is pretty irrelevant. A Caston against an Orianna, you keep him from scaling up. They had a lot of options here, but they just didn't execute well at all. It was very poor shot calling in that mid-game, early game even, when they were giving things up. It was just a really just all-around fight. Like, teammate, you think team fights. They didn't team fight well at all. They got picked off, and then it was like nothing from there.
Yeah.
They kind of just scattered to...
It was skirmishes was the problem.
This is the double-edged sword, though, that happens with teammate, where they're all kind of lemmings. When it's like, like you said, Calitrolls gets picked off, and they all have to follow. They're like, he's in the death chamber, jump into.
Yep.
It's the double-edged sword, because they fight really well some games, and in other games, they just look absolutely terrible.
Well, it sounds like back to the drawing board for teammate, as Freak had mentioned. Both of these teams moving to 3 and 5. It has been an exciting week, so let's pull up the rest of the standings and see how they're looking. Alone in first place, we finally have a sole leader in Team Solo Mid with 7 wins and only 1 loss. Sitting 1 game back in second, it's CLG. Then half the league are tied for third place with an even 4 wins and 4 losses. With their win, Team Dignitas have pulled themselves into a tie with teammate for 8th place, and in last, it's Coast. Now, there were a ton of LCS big plays this weekend, so here are now a few of the people who stood out in their positions. In the top lane, it's Zion Spartan.
He had a great game on Sion yesterday, and today his Gnar was really on point. I love the Frozen Mallet build so that mini Gnar is still a threat throughout the game. And his Gnars, his ultimates, were hitting 4 to 5 people, and that's why CLG was having that huge lead in the mid game and the late game against Team Solo Mid.
Definitely on point with those Gnar ults. Our OP jungler has got to go to Helios.
Yeah, I mean, you can make a case for a couple of junglers this week. Santorin's one, but Helios, to me, takes the crown only because WinterFox didn't necessarily expect to win these games, but they won them both in dominating fashion, and it all started with Helios. Whether he was pressuring the map, finding the right fights, stacking armor, you name it, also calling the shots, he's the big reason WinterFox went 2-0.
Yep, his game on Vi yesterday, very impressive. Master of the mid lane this week is going to go to Bjergsen. We heard Dyrus saying TSM relied on his shot calling in their important win over rivals CLG today, and his impressive Zed was on display yesterday in the early game. A few missteps late in the game, but forgivable given the insurmountable lead that he had accrued during the earlier parts of the game. And then we're going to move on to our 80 carry role where we'll find Wild Turtle.
You just talked about the shot calling from Bjergsen, but that wouldn't have been possible because the game was stalled out by a lot of individual playmaking from Wild Turtle. He was constantly unchecked and the threat was not dealt with, and that's why he is our 80 carry in that position.
And rounding it out, we've got Glebe, Winterfox's Glebe at support.
Hey, every once in a while, the guy filling in just plays amazingly, and it's because he's been filling in the whole season. I wonder how much Glebe is feeling a part of that team, but he really, in the Cloud9 game, his Leona play was so critical, whether it was taking aggro or locking down the right targets.
Yep, the flash Q turn there,
the game around.
That was massive, still sticks in my brain, but there can only be one MVP, and that MVP this week is going to go to Wild Turtle. We're awarding our top honors to Wild Turtle, who not only did he bag his 500th career kill, but Wild Turtle made clutch plays to help TSM secure sole possession of first place over their longtime rivals, CLG.
Yeah, this game was so crazy, and this fight, honestly, the way he was able to pick up that double kill, swung a bunch of it, but it was the way he played the whole game, whether he spell shielded at just the right moment. Everyone was focused on Bjergsen, but Wild Turtle did so much the whole weekend to just do a bunch of damage.
Definitely sometimes goes unnoticed in the team behind that star in Bjergsen, but as Irene mentioned, was one of the reasons why they stayed alive long enough in that game for Bjergsen to make the calls that were made to pull out that victory against rivals CLG.
And I really like that he's playing the Sivir, the team-oriented 80 carry there, to give everybody the engaged tools. And like you guys said, unchecked threat, pumping out damage, constant machine gun. Really well played here.
Well, there will be more action hitting your stream next week, starting on Wednesday with an all-new Primetime League. That same day, you can catch the start of the 2015 Challenger Series spring season. That's 6 p.m. Pacific for the NA region and 6 p.m. Central European for the EU. Then the North American LCS returns on Saturday with another 5 matches, starting with Team Liquid and Winterfox, Team 8 taking on Gravity, and TSM duking it out with Coast. That gets underway at noon Pacific, 6 p.m. Central European time. Now, it has been, without a doubt, a wild day of games today, and I'm sure there will be more surprises ahead. And we're still coming down from that explosive match between CLG and TSM. CLG owner Hotshot GG had some final thoughts on the results, saying, GG to TSM. I'll take the pink hair gladly, though. We aren't going to win if we don't put things on the table that prove we believe. And Double F took to Twitter with, Pink Age boys, GG, well played TSM, super fun game. I like a little bit of humor there, even in defeat, and they definitely still look like a very strong team. Now, rivals to be sure, but definitely a lot of respect between those teams. Can't wait to see these worthy competitors meet again in a few weeks. All right, everyone, that's going to do it for us today. So for the entire broadcast crew, thank you for watching, and we'll see you next week.
Our first match today, Winterfox versus Cloud9. Meteos gets the flash Q on. That's going to be the lockup as well. The Ignite is ticking. Will it burn? He cannot stop, drop, and roll. Missing a bit of damage. Solar Flare locks down both balls, and Meteos high to the back line. Pobelter now is actually very low. Does he decide to go in? Winterfox to take down Cloud9. Rush getting ahead of himself. Impact gets grabbed. Watching the backline. Mash does get hit by Xiao immediately. That's the ability they have. And Impulse are able to pick up a win here over Coast.
Alright, so what do we want to ban first? Jimmy?
Oh, okay. Just make. What? We have Zera. What the hell?
Oh, Zera. Okay, okay.
Getting caught, and they will start the battle. How much damage can Special and the rest of this company do? Looks like the jungler's going to fall right off the bat. Quas hooked in. Does Sonya's in time, but it's a 5v4. Gravity takes a win and proves to 4-4. But in comes Shifter. 2 kills picked up. Might be 3 if he takes down Cali Trolls right now, though. He wants Slushy. Gamsu tries to make it happen. This is going to be Dignitas finding a 3rd win.
You're not always going to be at the top. And like Reggie's gonna find that out today.
Guys, we better not lose this match. I do not want pink here.
The excitement here in the studio is worked up to a fever pitch, and the crowd is ready for our next match. Spartan on the Gnar. Bjergsen gets to do nothing this fight. 45 seconds on his death timer. They're